Sorry about that. Anyway, so sorry, the lady came to the window, asked me if I need help. I was like, not yet, I'll be there in a second. Anyway, men are hardwired to desire other women, to desire young, fertile looking bodies. They're wired to look. That's why sex sells everything, and why it's everywhere. It's what they do, so again, but whether they act on that is a separate thing. Okay. So just understand that men do fight that urge, whether it's easily available or not, their whole lives until they die. I heard an 88-year-old man get up in church, and the younger gentleman was like, so brother so-and-so, how did you conquer lust? And he says, I haven't, I just learned to hide it well. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, because he's 88 years old. But that's just the point. Our soul never ages. We're eternal. That's why no matter how old we are, we always feel young in our hearts. But we gain wisdom, right? So anyway, and the thing is that we're all human and we are all fallen. Women have our own temptations, whether it's we're emotional eaters or we spend too much money or whatever. Men have their own things that they have to deal with. And sometimes, okay, once or twice, I don't know, a man may do something with someone, all right, step out as they call it, but that literally does not mean that he does not love his wife and his children and his family. It's an urge that we cannot even begin to understand, and that's the truth. Women that have had to do testosterone therapy, which is not even like an eighth of the amount of testosterone that men have, are so charged in their body by the testosterone and the feelings of sensuality and sexuality and all these type of things. They're like, wow, if this is just a taste of what's running through men's bodies, then I'm amazed at the self-control they have. Okay. We don't understand because we are not the same creatures, and that's the truth. So what I would say, all right, let's see if I can complete my thought first and wrap it up here. But basically, also, most men, it's not that easy to get laid. It's a pain in the ass. It's a lot of work. There are the top % of men that have either the just straight looks, charisma, don't give a F attitude that women just seem like they throw themselves at them, or the money. Okay. And those guys have to work even harder to not give in to temptation, but that's not the majority of men. The majority of men, if they want to, have to actually work for it, and it's not even guaranteed. Versus, that's why if you go out and you get drunk, he's more concerned about you. He doesn't want you to worry about him, because he knows it's way easier for you to just be like, hey, you want to hook up? And they'll be like, yeah. I mean, who's going to say no? I mean, really, you will find someone. Versus a guy could strike out the whole night asking different girls or trying to pick up different girls. It's not that easy. Okay. So, don't be a pain in the ass. Don't nag. Don't try to control him. Trust him. And I know that that's so hard in the world we live in today, but it seems that a thing that's always been is that men want to live up to the expectations that we have for them. Like, if we see them as a better man, they want to be that better man. So, and I have hurt my husband on several occasions by being concerned and questioning. And he's like, wouldn't you know me by now? And I'm like, but honey, I mean, these girls, we have one of those situations where I've seen so many girls look at him over the years. I know that I've tried to talk to him over the years, and he just is a man of great discipline, and God bless his soul. So, between all those different things and not knowing who your specific husband's going to be, all right, some of that has to do with the man that you choose to say yes to. If you see signs ahead of time that he's with other girls, that, he sees other women, a lot of men are being more honest these days about it, and you don't want to deal with it, then don't pursue that relationship. There are plenty of men out there that are like, look, if I just had a good woman, I would be faithful. I'd have no problem. Okay. So you have to make that decision. A lot of times it's women that are putting themselves in that position to be with a man who's maybe like a consistent philanderer or a consistent man that exercises options. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so that's what I'd say about that. And I think the number one most important thing about this whole idea of do traditional women have to accept infidelity is the fact that, you know, you have to take your own situation into consideration. If he's a good man, if he works hard, you know, he's not beating you, he doesn't cuss at you, he's good to his children. If he messed up once or twice over, you know, you're together 20, 25 years, 30 years, 40 years, whatever, especially when they're younger, it's a little more difficult for them, you know, then your job is to keep the family that you created. You know, losing your family, sacrificing your family because your feelings are hurt because he's a fallen soul like the rest of us and messed up is very unwise. And honestly, the majority of women that I know are less happy leaving their home relationship than if they would have stayed and worked through that season, because marriage is full of seasons. There's different seasons of life. Some are happier than others. You know, but it's, if you can work through it, you can actually have a better relationship than you've ever had in your entire life. And he will love you so much more every day. He will cherish you so much more every day, knowing that you stuck by him, that you trusted him, that, you know, you were willing to see his faults as human frailties, and, you know, that your family and him are more important than having your feelings hurt. And these are hard things, but they're adult things. They're grown-up things, and things that women are not told today. Mr. Samuels, God rest his soul, tried very hard. And again, unless someone's out there just, you know, embarrassing you, bringing you home diseases, having kids out of wedlock, just out of control. A lot of times those guys are on drugs or alcoholics. You know, there's other problems going on. A normal, hardworking man literally doesn't even have the time. You know, my husband works 16-hour days, so many days a week. Other days he's working 10 hours. And he doesn't even have the time or the energy. You know, he has plenty of options, but he just comes home. He's happy to be home. I treat him like a king, and, you know, he treats me so amazing, like I'm his queen, and he never wants me to forget that. So, you know, I hope that answers your question. I would just say that, especially for women of faith that say that we believe, you know, Jesus told his disciples, they said, how many times do we forgive him, Jesus? 7 times? He goes, how about 77 times 7 times? So, you know, we women that walk around talking about we believe in God and the Bible sure act really forgetful when we have our feelings hurt. And we need to remember that if we honor God, we honor the scriptures, we honor our husbands, we honor our marriage, just be grateful for everything that we've been given. Good will come from that. Blessings will come from that. But if we tear down our own home with our own hands, we will be miserable, because there ain't nothing out here for really, you know, 35, you possibly, but 40 and up, forget about it. Look, 40 and up, any man that marries a 40-year-old woman, which God bless the woman, whatever, but he is putting himself in a position where at any time she's going to go through perimenopause, menopause. She may have married you wanting to F your brains out. Now all of a sudden she doesn't even want you to touch her, and she's numb from the waist down. You may not get any for years. So why would you do that to yourself from a man's perspective, okay? Some men, maybe if she married an older man by 15 to 20 years, won't care as much about the sex and just happy to have a younger woman and will go through that with you. But that's a pain in the ass. I'm just saying, going through it, you know, myself, knowing others, I wouldn't wish it on anybody. I would say you get yourself a younger woman, find someone who's 30 at least, you know, if you're in your 50s. and have those good years, because eventually she gains weight without even trying, all this stuff. Not everybody, but many women have these problems. I'll bloat it up. It's such a pain, and I'm so strict, and I'm trying so hard. But anywho, I'm just saying, I know that it's not easy. And if I could just, reverse time and go back to being my 25-year-old self now for my husband, I really would love that. All the energy I had, just everything. So, and to be honest, I can totally understand why men, when they hit 50, 45, 50, and their wife's going through menopause, and she doesn't want to be touched, they have affairs, because it's not acceptable for them to just add a second wife who would help out and this, that, and the other, and, fulfill the needs that he has. So instead, he has to go hide and, shame himself by having an affair behind his wife's back, that he doesn't want to hurt her feelings. All this kind of stuff is going on, and it doesn't have to be that way. But it's because we refuse to acknowledge the truth about things. Just because we're going through what we're going through doesn't mean it takes away the man's urges or his needs. Men have different sexual libidos at different ages, whatever, but generally speaking, they still want sex, okay? So anyway, that's what I have to say about that. And create a family, keep a family. That was Mr. Samuel's motto. And I've got to go. But anyway, I love y'all. Hope you have a great day. And I know that it's totally, I do all my videos are spontaneous. I don't hardly ever take notes. It's raw and uncut. You get what you get. You don't get upset. So anyway, lots of love to y'all. Thank you for your questions. Ciao.